Namaskar. Good afternoon and Sat Sri Akal, because now badi duniya, the big world you saw just now, big world of LNG, big world of phlegm, big world of boys, now come to small world, but very important world. Small world of cylinders and equipments that we leave with our customer. We don't leave boys with SPMs with our customer. So what we leave with the customer is a container which is full of so-called risk. So therefore it is all the more important to focus some time to this session as well, because it is internal as well as external to us, where external environment we don't have control and over the things that we normally have in our own plants, because more educated people and all that. Before we get into the introduction, I'll just 2 minutes I'll take to set the context. Context is, this session is primarily around cylinder, particularly gas cylinders. And gas cylinder, when you say that, you can say hydrogen cylinder, or you can say CNG cylinder, or you can say LPG cylinder. Hydrogen cylinder is a world of 700 bar. CNG is a world of 200 to 250 bar. Now our gas LPG cylinder, when you come to operating pressure and your whatever hydrostatic pressure and all that, is sub 100 bar story, including the the destructive testing that we do. So now coming back to cylinders, the context in India is more important than anywhere in the world for two simple reasons. As of date, we have roughly 16.5 crore. Country has around 26-27 crore households. Out of that, around 16 crore households have gas connections as on date. And around 10 crore government has embarked upon a very, very ambitious project to reach 10 crore more connections within next 3 years. So LPG size of our LPG customers may not be volume as much, but the size of LPG customer base in last 2 years plus next 3 years, 5 years, is as good as what was developed in last 60 years. So if you see 10 crores plus 3 crores, or Mr. Gupta and Mr. Ajit Singh ji sitting here, and so fortunately entire LPG fraternity of country, PSU fraternity of the country is here, and it is very nice to share with you, and you would be very glad to know that what was 13 crore in 13-14 is aimed to be 26 crore in 1918-19. So virtually 100% increase over 5 years. 3 years, 3.5 crore already added in last 2 years, and hopefully another 10 crore will be added in this year itself. Most likely it will be 3 crores minimum, and then next 4 crore in next 2 years. So the point was why I was trying to mention this, that enormity of LPG cylinders penetration in Indian households is migrating towards now bottom of the pyramid. What Sikher Prahlad in his management book says, that virtually now LPG is migrating towards the bottom of the pyramid, that is the poorest in the country. Now with those comes the associated challenges as well, because so far it was city, educated mass, nice housing. Now it is a world of not so good housing, not so good controls, and definitely not so educated people. And definitely not easy to communicate with them, because most of them communicate in dialect, local language and all that. So therefore I came to that, can something be done about, if these forums can help to improve the design safety at least, so that the migration that is happening towards the bottom of the pyramid, and top of the pyramid is gradually moving towards PNG. Natural gas, because 30 lakh today is the consumer base in our country, for the domestic consumer base for the natural gas. So top of the pyramid is, from that side it is coming PNG, and LPG is moving downwards. So this vertical movement, downward movement, has posing its own beauty and its own challenges. Beauty is that it is becoming a mass product. LPG is as good. Today we consume roughly 20 million ton, 19.5. Most likely this country will consume in very sooner future, 1 or 2 years, it will consume around 25 million ton. That is besides, so associated all the issue, but right now the focus is about cylinder. So it is very contextual, and if this demand has to be met, demand has to be met by increasing the bottling capacity, and bottling capacity can't be increased unless we look at our existing facility, which are either by increasing the shifts or increasing the speed of bottling. And therefore, there is a very apt time and apt presentation that you will be interested to know, that how bottling speed is contemplated or has been increased in some of the select plants in the country. So therefore, in the oil industry is fully geared up in this country to meet this prolific, huge growth which is expected in next 3 years. So be it bottling or be it bottle itself. So some deliberation on bottle and some deliberation on bottling. Here, very high pressure bottles also will be talked about, and therefore I will not take any time further, but to introduce five panelists. On my left, the first is Dr. Krish Rasche. He is a former president, Danetech, Germany. He has studied mechanical engineering in Germany with a detailed study of material science, material processing and retesting. He started his career as research associate at Mansman's Research Labs and wrote his doctoral thesis about environmental and process-related influences on the characteristics of continuously fiber-reinforced thermoplastics. In 2001, he founded, on behalf of Danet Industries in Canada, Danet Europe in Germany, as a managing director, and was from 2007-12 parallel president and CEO of Danetech Industries in Calgary. Since 2012, now he is managing director of Luxfer, Germany. Dr. Rasche has been a preeminent contributor to the commercial growth of worldwide natural gas vehicle. Natural gas vehicle, basically what you know in our country we know as vehicle sector, is what we know as CNG. He is also one of the industry leaders who has focused on developing safer CNG cylinders, not only through own efforts at Danec, but Luxfer, but also providing technical input and guidance at the NJV associations. Now, second on my left is Mr. Purnendu Narayan Kant. He is Deputy General Manager, LPG SBU East Zone, currently working out of Calcutta. And education, he is a degree in mechanical engineering from University of Bihar. Area of expertise is downstream petroleum operations and LPG. 32 years of experience. Special achievements, many programs he has attended, including the rubber technology program at IIT Kharagpur, management courses at IIMs. And with this, and he will be presenting, that I will be introducing later, that what subject he will be speaking on. Then third on my left is Mr. Srinivas Rao. He is also from HPC. He is DGM LPG West Zone, working out of Mumbai. Education, he is a Bachelor of Engineering from NIT Durgapur, West Bengal. Has vast exposure in all streams of LPG. 28 years of experience in oil and gas marketing and operations. Special achievements like successfully launched various initiatives in adoption of technology in HPCL, LPG SBU like electronic filling systems, mounted storage, advanced firefighting systems. And he is an avid badminton player. Fourth on my left is Mr. Don Balvin, a graduate from University of Nebraska in 1985. He has worked on broad spectrum of aerospace and commercial products, ranging from carbon-carbon hot gas valves to filaments wound pressure vessels. He was the lead designer for several high-pressure composite riser projects, and he is now director of product development for mobile pipeline products at Hexagon Lincoln in Nebraska. So So you can tap all that you want to tap into him as regards composite, right? Because so prolific, the profile is so rich. Now I come to last, but probably not the least, is Mr. D.K. Gupta. He is Deputy Chief Controller of Explosives at Nagpur, working in the Office of Chief Controller. He has had 6 years in the process and production management in chlor-alkali industry. After that, followed by 7 years as Assistant Director Safety in DG of Factory Advice Service and Labour Institute, Ministry of Labour, Government of India. Lots of work behind him, safety audit, risk analysis. Many places nominated by Government of India on expert committee. And for last 18 years, he is working with Department of Explosives, now which is rechristened and named as PESO. Presently, he is what I have already told. And he is a member of the Gas Cylinders Sectional Committee of Bureau of Indian Standards and substantially contributed in the formulation of various standards of cylinders and valves. With this, ladies and gentlemen, I am through with my introduction. Now, before any much ado, I think I'll request Dr. Rashe to start his session with one caveat that we are running short of time and we are exactly half an hour behind the original schedule. So 12:32 and the people have to break at 1:30 latest, I suppose. So we have 1 hour. So if 10 minutes schedule is kept at 10 minutes, on an average, I'm not saying that everybody should be dot at 10. Somebody can be 12, somebody can be 8, depending on whatever you feel like. But definitely, if I maintain that schedule, I think we'll be through by 1:30. Thank you.
So thank you very much for the introduction, ladies and gentlemen. Warm welcome. First, congratulations to PESO CCOE, very well organized event here. Not only over the day, even in the evening, always party, very good mood. And I hope you had a lot of opportunities to learn something here. So before I start my presentation, just to get your attention. So in the first accident that happened in Iran with an Asian-made steel cylinder, 3 people were killed. In the second accident, which happened in Seoul, Korea, 27 people heavily injured. And the last accident in China with the LNG tanker, 5 people were killed. So, I'm talking today about less hydrocarbons, more about hydrogen, and just a short introduction about our company. We are in a British-based company, headquarters is in Manchester, but we are listed at the New York Stock Exchange. Last year revenue was 460 million. We have in total 4 divisions, and one of the divisions is making gas cylinders, all kind of gas cylinders. One of these cylinders you can see here, very lightweight. 100% of all firefighters in the US have this breathing air cylinders on the back. Today, 70% of all firefighters in Europe have this lightweight construction on the back. This is just one of our products. And what you can see as well, protection in the aviation industry, inflation cylinders for oxygen supply. These are all from our typical product range. So mainly in Asia Pacific and South America and other parts of the world, we are still thinking in steel. So I'm working since 1989 on composite materials, and how far advanced these composite materials are today, you can see in this slide. Here, for instance, the A380 has today 35 tons of structural components made by carbon fiber reinforced plastics. So we are replacing with every generation more and more metals with carbon fiber reinforcements, but other applications as well. Now the carbon fiber industry starts penetrating even the automotive industry. If you're buying today a new BMW series, the whole roof and trunk is today made from carbon fibers. So next generation, you can see the development since 1970. The first aircraft had just 4% carbon fiber reinforcement on board. Today, the A350 will have 53% made of carbon fiber reinforced plastics. So why lightweight high pressure cylinders? For firefighters, for other applications, it's more convenient. The firefighters are showing a much higher performance if they have a lighter cylinder on the back. But in the end of the day, for gas transport, for automotive, in the end of the day, especially in Europe and the US, we are thinking OPEX. That means operational expenses. So we are not so focused on CapEx. Of course, the first investment is important too, but we are looking as well for the operational costs. And if you're looking for lightweight systems, we showed even in Asia Pacific that sometimes lightweight containers transporting hydrogen or gas are paid back within 3 years. So and then you're making much more money. In addition, reduced life cycle cost, and the composites have one significant advantage. They are absolute corrosion free. You can take this cylinder, put it 100,000 battery acid, and it still has the same burst strength. So a lot of advantages, and now we are looking for the hydrogen economy and hydrogen vehicles in the future, which we are expecting soon, especially in Europe, where we have to build 700 bar surface pressure cylinders. Can you imagine the explosive load in a 700 bar cylinder filled with hydrogen? One of the backgrounds is Germany wants to be more and more independent, and you can see last year 30% of all electricity was made from renewables. So it's a little bit insane. We have today 22,000 windmills, and the majority of this green energy, with 13.3%, is coming from the wind energy, followed by biomass, solar power, and hydropower. So this energy mix, the intention of the German government is to lift this green energy up to 50% content in 2030. And one of the intention is to use this green energy to make hydrogen. So you're taking water, and by electrolysis you're making out of the water hydrogen, and we are putting the hydrogen in the car so that we have a complete green supply chain. So, and why hydrogen, or why the automotive industry is still thinking about hydrogen-powered car? Because this car will provide the same mileage range as the vehicles today. It will have the same weight as the vehicles today. So that's why they are saying mainly this is the reason why they think hydrogen is the only future. We have a government program called Electromobility 2020. The first 20 hydrogen filling stations are in operation. So it's intention of the German government to have 400 hydrogen filling stations, public hydrogen filling stations, in 2023, and to have the full safe system integration. That's a hell of work behind. It starts with hydrogen gas transport, where we are thinking today about 500 bar containers to transport the gas, the hydrogen beside liquefied hydrogen. But in the end of the day, if you see the requirements coming for the vehicle, if you see the standards for hydrogen-powered vehicles or fuel cell vehicles, it's way beyond CNG or LNG or LPG. They are doing much, much, much more. And typical examples you can see here in the snapshots. Dispensers are already available. As I said, we have already 20 hydrogen filling stations in operation. Since 2001, buses are on the road in cities like Hamburg or Stuttgart, with a very good field test experience, and the automotive industry is working always to improve the performance of the fuel cell vehicles. Just an example here, the A-Class, which was built with a fuel cell in 2004, followed by the B-Class built in 2008, and you can see the improvement in range and size of the gas tank systems. So unfortunately, I have not so much time to explain all details. And why we failed in the end of the day in the past, because a hydrogen vehicle was expected to come much, much earlier, because we are making it really complicated, especially with regard to safety. So you can see from the Department of Energy all the targets settled in 2005, 2010 and 2015, and we are still behind. We are still behind. Anyway, I just can repeat, standards for hydrogen vehicles are far beyond other standards. And from the CNG and LPG and LNG industry, we should learn from this. So even if you Google Toyota, just Google Toyota, hydrogen, you will find very interesting information. So even Toyota is highlighting that they see the hydrogen vehicle, the fuel cell car, as the future, as they saw the hybrid 20 years ago. Hyundai is very far advanced, spending hundreds of millions of dollars every year, and the Hyundai iX35 is ready for serial production. It achieves already close to 600 kilometer mileage range, and in the medium term, this car is available for less than $50,000. So what is planned for the US in 2014-16, already the Toyota Mirai and other vehicles are ready for sale. Question is now chicken and egg, where's the infrastructure coming from? But in the end of the day, especially in Germany, we are working hard on this. And our expertise, we are now working since 20 years on this hydrogen systems for vehicles. We equipped hundreds of buses, vans, forklifts, and other vehicles. And I said, we are talking today, for instance, by bus systems, service pressure 350 bar. The filling pressure is always 440 bar to have the right temperature compensation, and the wish of the automotive industry to have up to 40 kilogram hydrogen on board at 350 bar. We had many projects, even at airports in Germany, and interesting is that the city of Hamburg made the commitment to drive emission-free in 2020. That means we will see, especially on the bus side in Hamburg, a mix of electric buses, pure electric buses, and hydrogen-powered buses. North America is working as well on hydrogen, not so much as in Europe, but here we have a lot of prototypes running too. And where are the technical challenges are, for instance, the valve. So if you see today an LPG valve, you can buy it extremely cheap. The valves we have to make for 350 bar and 700 bar hydrogen are really complicated, and at the moment there are just 3 companies which have some certification to bring it into operation. So we have an integrated pressure sensor, we have an integrated temperature sensor, we have of course pressure relief devices, and the valve and the car is communicating with the dispenser. That means we are measuring online the temperature during fast fill, and as far as the temperature is beyond 85 degrees C, the car is telling dispenser, stop filling me because more than 85 degrees is not allowed. So that makes it really complex, and if I'm talking about just a regulator, it makes it really more complex because we have to regulate down from 700 or 840 bar to 11 bar, and we have to provide a very precise hydrogen gas flow from around 0.5 up to 2 grams per second. Very difficult. Anyway, hydrogen economy, especially in Europe, North America, will be the driver. In the end of the day, we are looking to equip passenger cars, buses. The economy for bulk hauling means hydrogen gas transport will increase. And again, back to safety. Bear in mind which energy you have on board. If you have an 80-liter steel cylinder operated at 250 bar, it is equivalent to 0.4 kilogram TNT. If you have a 450-liter composite cylinder, it's equal to 2.8 kilogram TNT. That's the explosive mass. So we are saying always safety first. And what happens with 4 kilogram TNT during a terror attack in Volgograd, you can see in the picture below how the buses look like. Anyway, I think I'm over time now. Yeah? Then I finish my presentation here. I have a couple of more slides, but I think that's it. I hope it was interesting to talk a little bit about hydrogen, not hydrocarbons, but in the end of the day, it's dangerous too, and we have to take care of safety. Many thanks for your attention.
Indeed, thankful to the PESO for giving me an opportunity to speak on composite cylinders. It is an opportunity to speak before the stalwarts in LPG marketing. We know that there are a number of composite cylinders manufacturers globally here, indigenous manufacturers as well as the global manufacturers are there in this forum. My presentation will cover the composite cylinder, why composite cylinders, design and manufacturing, testing, the advantages and disadvantages, the filling process for the composite cylinders, handling and transportation, and SOP and training. Once we talk about the domestic LPG marketing in the country, the 14.2 kg LPG cylinders are being delivered to 160 million households in the country in a container having a weight of 16 kg. The weight ratio between the weight of container and weight of the product which is being supplied is 1.1 times. You can understand that approximately 280 million cylinders are there in India. The population of cylinders are more than the entire population of Europe. You can understand that to deliver 14.2 kg cylinders in a container of 16 kg, how much resources has to be engaged to transport the cylinders from bottling plant to the dealer's premises, from dealer's premises to the consumer premises. It is a heavy weight, and it has to be handled manually, physically at the LPG bottling plants, as well as at the distributors, LPG godown, and finally at the LPG consumers. What is the solution for this? The composite cylinder comes and offers an option for us to supply the LPG cylinders, the 14.2 kg LPG cylinders, in a container of weight 8.8 kg. The weight ratio, it comes down from 1.1 to 0.66. That is the requirement why we should go for composite cylinders. I won't go into much of details, technical details, because there is very short time available right now. These composite cylinders are manufactured and designed and tested as per ISO 11119 Part 3 or EN 12245. It is of type 4, which is fully wrapped composite cylinders with a non-load sharing, non-metallic liner, composite reinforcement on both the cylindrical and the domed portion. The life of cylinders are expected to be approximately 15 years. The composite cylinders have got 3 layers. The first layer inside the cylinder is blow molded liner made out of SDP, which is seamless inner gas tight layer. The boss is made of injection molded SDP with a steel insert so that the valves can be fitted onto the cylinders. The layer 2 is the most important layer. It is the composite load carrying material, which is a filament wound fiberglass and epoxy resin, which has a tremendous capacity to withstand the tensile stress due to gas pressure inside the cylinders. The third layer in this is the injection molded outer casing, which protects the pressure vessels and valves and makes it convenient for handling. The manufacturing process, the blow molding is happening for the inner layer. The boss welding takes place. Then the filament winding across the cylindrical portion as well as dome portion is taking place. It goes for baking, resin baking, because it is mixed with the resin. And finally, the outer casing fitments is done so as it can be handled properly. These are the testing processes. The cylinders are to be tested for hydro testing. The pneumatic testing is done for the leak test. The torque test is done to find out the strength between the SDP casing with the valve, with the steel item which is used for fixing of the valves. The burst test, then the ambient cycle tests are conducted on these cylinders. Now I would like to talk what are the advantages of steel cylinders. Steel cylinder, what are the advantages of the composite cylinders over the steel cylinders. Steel cylinders are heavy, difficult to handle. The composite cylinders are lightweight and easy to handle. As you can see that it can be handled by arms and not by soldiers. The steel cylinders are corrosive to the atmosphere, and the composite cylinders are non-corrosive from both inside as well as outside. The advantages of a composite cylinder is also there. It is opaque. Steel cylinders are opaque. You cannot see inside what is the LPG levels. The composite cylinders are translucent. The gas level is visible. It is aesthetically appealing, of different design, and it can come in vibrant colors. The advantage over the steel cylinder is that, another advantage, the safety advantage, which is that the composite LPG cylinders, when exposed to indirect or direct flame impingement on the cylinders, will not produce a boiling liquid expanding vapor explosion blaze. When the metal cylinder subjected to direct flame impingement results in the container failure by blaze, the steel cylinders may open up and vent through a split in the tank shells. Therefore, the composite cylinders have safety advantage as compared to the metal cylinders. What is the process? What should be the process for filling and purging of these cylinders? The composite cylinders are made of resin. It is likely to generate and store static electricity. Hence, they need to be neutralized with a water spray system in the filling process. The cylinders to be completely wet with the water during the entire process of LPG filling to ensure proper mitigation of static charges generated or deposited before or during the filling of cylinders with LPG. The purging of composite cylinder is to be done as recommended by the manufacturers. The handling of composite cylinders. For convenient and safe handling of composite cylinders, an specially designed delivery cases has to be used, which is shown in the picture. The composite cylinders should be transported along with their delivery case only in a vertical upright and capped position. It is to be stacked separately from the steel cylinders. The training. What should be the training for using these composite cylinders? A SOP, safety instruction manual, has to be developed to include the procedures for handling, filling, receipt, dispatches, transportation of composite cylinders. Training is to be organized by the composite cylinder manufacturers for handling of composite cylinders for all the concerned personnel at the LPG plant. The plant must conduct SOP-based training for all the concerned persons like plant officials, operators, the contract workers, including the delivery men, loading, unloading, and contract workmen. What is the way forward? The development of Indian standards for composite cylinders is in progress. Mostly we are taking help from the ISO standards and EN standards. As of now, it is being manufactured as per ISO 11119 Part 3 and EN 12245. The further course of action is to be decided on the basis of feedback, experiences, and further details on following points. As HPCL, we have already procured the 5 kg LPG cylinders and 10 kg LPG cylinders. Even the 2.5 kg LPG cylinders we have procured. And we are likely to market, the pilot marketing is to be done in the selected markets in the country. We will be also procuring the other capacity cylinders like 7.5 kg and 14.2 kg as well. The bottling experience and scalability option has to be studied for introduction of these composite cylinders. The market valuation on acceptability of the consumers has also to be assessed to find out that what shape and size is acceptable to the consumers in the market. It has to meet the requirement of normal height of the slabs inside the kitchen. We can have in case of composite cylinders, we have the versatility available. Whatever shape and size we want, whatever shape and size the consumer wants, we can make it. It can be manufactured. The life and durability of composite cylinders, as stated by the international bodies, that it is expected approximately 15 years. So with these words, I would like to thank all of you for patient listening on the composite cylinders. I have another 3.5 minutes left. If any question, I can answer on that. Anybody wants any question? Because I have specially left. Yes, sir. What is that?
Boiling liquid vapor explosion will not be in composite cylinder.
Vapor explosion, yeah.
Yeah.
Why it happens? Why there is no BLEVE in the LPG, in the composite LPG cylinders? What happens? We have seen the studies, and Dr. Kamal and Mr. D.K. Gupta and Ashendra Singh were also there. We virtually burned the LPG cylinders, this composite LPG cylinders, fully filled with LPG, and we had burned. What happens in this case? There is rupture happens for a very thin part of the composite cylinders. A very small portion will open out, and it will release a limited quantity of gas which comes in the flame. There is no BLEVE happening. The gas is slowly coming out, and it is burning. So there is nothing like sudden explosion, the release of energy at one time. So that is the advantages here. Once we have seen so many cases when the LPG cylinders carrying truck is catching fire, and cylinders are blowing from one place to other place. But that kind of situation is probably it will not happen once the LPG truck is loaded with the fully loaded with the composite cylinders. Those kind of situation is not likely to happen in case of composite cylinders.
Is there any insurance policy for the affected people during cylinder bursting?
So your question is not specifically related to LPG composite cylinders. I think probably it is related to normal domestic LPG cylinders. All the consumers are covered, domestic consumers are covered under the insurance.
Yeah. Hello. Sir, just one very simple question. What is the cost comparison of metallic cylinder versus this?
Sir, today the cost of steel cylinder is coming at 1,400 rupees. The security deposit has to be paid by the LPG consumers. And if I talk about 14.2 kgs composite cylinders, which can carry 14.2 kg cylinders, weighing 8.8, it could be approximately 3,500 right now, because what has happened, presently the cost is more because number of LPG cylinders being procured are very less. Once we scale up across the country, probably the cost is likely to come down. A lot of people are here who are the manufacturers of composite cylinders. They have also said that once you scale up the requirement, probably the cost of composite cylinders will come almost at par with the steel cylinders. Thank you, sir.
Hello. I have one question, please.
Only one question, sir.
Yeah, sure.
Only one question.
Though not directly related to composite cylinder, but currently the valve sizes for PSU cylinders and the private players cylinders are different.
Yes.
Why can't we commonize it?
That is a question. You know that the oil PSUs are supplying LPG cylinders, which is subsidized. When the private players are supplying LPG cylinders, which is non-subsidized, primarily this is for the purpose to avoid the mixing of these two categories of cylinders. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Punendu. Come, Mr. Rao.
Respected Chairperson, dignitaries, and all the delegates.
Now it is showing 10 minutes, so you can go by this.
A very good afternoon to you all. All my previous speakers have got 15 minutes for themselves, and by the time I came, it has come down to 10 minutes only. Anyway, I'll try to finish within the allocated time. I'll be presenting about the high-speed filling systems. More specifically, the system that we at HPCL have adopted, that's flex speed carousel. This will be the flow of the presentation. HPCL has been the pioneer in adopting technology in the industry. We were the first in the industry to upgrade all our mechanical carousels to electronic and install automated leak checks on all the plants. Converted production lines from 2 lines earlier to a single line, and installed wall changing machine without evacuation, without cylinder evacuation, the first one to do that. And we have commissioned flex speed carousels. 2 of them we have commissioned, one at Cherlapalli, that's Hyderabad, and another at Bangalore. Now coming to our experience with the flex speed carousels. Why is the high-speed systems required? If you see the rate of urbanization in the past decade, you will notice that it has been very rapid. In many cases, more than 60, 70, 80%. Unfortunately, I think the numbers have been lost in the process of loading in this computer. Otherwise, you would have seen that it ranges between 35% to as high as 85%. Now, when we have constructed these bottling plants, these have been constructed well away from these cities. But over a period of time, due to this urbanization, the habitation has encroached close to our plants also, and there is no space left for any further expansion of the plants. And also, wherever space is there also we are not so keen on, spreading our facilities thin to avoid logistical problems. And the high-speed filling systems, cost comparison, if you see, there's substantial cost advantage in high-speed systems. The particular case what we were talking about, we had 2 filling systems, 2 24-head filling systems, which were having a static check scale with a single test head downstream equipments. As the capacity became a constraint, we had shifted to dynamic check scale and double-headed checking equipment. That lasted us for a couple of years, and after a couple of years, we started again feeling the pinch. And that's when we started looking for options, and we have collaborated with one of our pioneers in the bottling equipment manufacturers in the field, Mrs. Chris Plant, for working out a high-speed system. This high-speed system we have developed along with Mrs. Chris Plant. This has resulted in reduced space requirement for the system, and also the speed. We have been able to have a flexible speed between 2,000 cylinders per hour to 4,200 cylinders per hour, and there has been a substantial improvement in quality and reliability and repeatability as well. We will see how. This is the layout. We have been able to accommodate this carousel in the existing system itself, in the existing shed itself, without adding any further structures in the plant. And when we started working on this, the first challenge that has come to us is about tare weight encoding for these cylinders. The existing system was a manual tare weight encoding station, which we have not considered for this system because of one is the manual intervention that is required in the system, and another is the capacity constraint. We have looked at bar coding, but we have not gone in for bar coding because of the huge work that has to be carried out on the cylinders, and also our experience with the bar coding when we have tried earlier has not been that good in this field. And another technology that was considered was RFID technology, which involved a lot of working on the existing cylinders, which would have been a mammoth task, and huge cost implications were there. We have not taken up that as well. And another system offered by the manufacturer was voice recognition. This also we have not taken because, again, there is a manual intervention in the system. Finally, we have gone in for the vision system, which doesn't require any working on the existing cylinders, which can be just installed and the operations can be started. And when we have taken the system, these are the various factors that have been included. This is the elimination of human error and auto differentiation between 14.2 kg and 19 kg cylinders by identification of the color. After choosing this system, we have identified certain challenges in making it successful in the initial stage itself, and we started working on that. As a part of that, we have taken this vision unit 6 months in advance before the original equipment has come, before the Carousel has come to the plant, and we started working on the cylinders so that we can make the cylinders ready by the time the installation is started. And we have made the rejected cylinders ready for reading by the vision unit. And also, during the course of this activity, we have worked on a specific tare weight window for 14.2 kg and 19 kg, so that an additional safety measure will be there for the cylinder, so that the system will not mistake one for the other. And another requirement we found is the quality of cylinder cleaning for proper reading of the tare weight of the cylinder, which was required, and certain modifications were carried out in washing units. Basically, this is the principle of the flex speed carousel. Unlike the regular carousels, which have a load cell for each of the filling scales, here there are only 5 load cells installed on the ground. And on that, you can build your carousel with the combination that you choose. It can be a 40 filling post machine, or a 50 filling post machine, or a 100 filling post machine. The scales, the weighing scales will remain 5 under the carousel. The first one is for zero setting of the scale, and the second one for measuring the residual gas in the scale, and the third one is to measure the filling trend, and the fourth one is to measure the top-up requirement in the cylinder, and the fifth one is the check scale. That's the peculiarity of this carousel. The check weighing also is done on the carousel itself, unlike in the traditional systems where after the cylinder comes out of the carousel, the weighment is done. So in this, the check weighing also is done within the carousel itself. And this posed the second major challenge for us, wherein we require to maintain constant pressure in the filling, the LPG supplied. And we have been able to achieve that by carrying out certain modifications in the pipelines and introducing a constant pressure valve in the system. Now this is where is the advantage for the check weighing on the carousel itself. You get additional time of almost 150% more than you get in a regular check weighing system. And in the system, there are 2 sub-carousels, 2 mini carousels attached to this main carousel, wherein the leak tests are done for both valve and the O-ring, and you get additional time because of the carousel arrangement in the system. around almost 300 to 400% additional time you gain, and that gives us reliability and repeatability in leak testing of the cylinders filled. And you have variable speed conveyors to vary your requirement of filling, which will give you power saving as well, along with the variation in speeds as per your requirement. The star wheel mechanism gives you smoothness in the flow of the cylinders in and out of the cylinders. And finally, these are the benefits with the system that we have adopted. More capacity in a small space, and less cost per cylinder, per cylinder filled. Better reliability and repeatability resulting in better quality. Less manpower requirement, and flexibility according to your requirement in a day. Optimum air and power consumption, and you have full statistics control. I have a small film, but due to paucity of time, already I've overran the time. I will skip that, and thank you very much.
Now, Mr. Don Balvin, he will be talking about composites.
I'd first of all like to congratulate Dr. Kamal, CCOE, and his entire PESO team for delivering a really world-class conference and a world-class discussion on the topics. I'm here to discuss with you today Type 4 cylinders for CNG and hydrogen applications, specifically our DOT regulations in the United States. Sometimes you have a good problem when you're a technology company that has a product that people recognize. There's a gap in the market. And in the case of this, there was a market need in the United States and really worldwide for larger, lighter weight, cost-competitive tube trailers. And to meet this need, Hexagon has developed the Titan tank, large composite, all Type 4 composite tank, and the module and trailer systems that make that tank usable. Our workhorse is the Titan module, which is a 40-foot ISO container. We also have a 30-foot version, which is used in Malaysia, but the baseline, the workhorse, is a 40-foot ISO container with 4 of the large 8,500-liter tanks in it. And this system is able to deliver more than 2 times more gas per load than the previously existing steel tube trailers. And in the United States, and in most areas really, the capacity of the steel tube trailers was limited by the weight restrictions for use on the highways. And our Type 4 composite tube trailers allow logistics companies to use the full width, height, and length limits of the regulations in their areas. The applications that these are used in, transporting stranded natural gas to a pipeline, transporting natural gas from a pipeline to stranded customers, and this has been our primary market to date. Supporting mother-daughter fueling stations. This is how our modules are used in Thailand and Malaysia in particular. They can be used for ground storage of compressed gases. They can be used for transport of compressed gases by highway, railway, and marine. And they're also used for the transport and storage of compressed hydrogen. In the United States, the composite cylinders are managed by different entities. Transportation cylinders, which basically think of cylinders that are put in the back of a truck, are managed by DOT, PHMSA, Pipeline Hazardous Materials and Safety Administration. And they issue special permits for things that are out of the norm and not covered by the existing federal codes. And when you talk to them and you want to get a special permit for something, it's very helpful to reference existing standards like your FRPs, your your ISOs, et cetera. Vehicle cylinders, the fuel tanks on vehicles, are covered by DOT NHTSA, the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration. And basically, as far as the cylinders, they want compliance with a particular code. They recognize industry standards, and then they limit the pressures to basically 20 MPa and 24 MPa, 25 MPa, and for natural gas, and 25 MPa and up to 70 MPa for hydrogen. And the sizes are basically limited to a 450-liter cylinder. Stationary storage cylinders are covered by state jurisdictions and local authorities like fire marshals, and they typically reference ASME Section 10 for composite cylinders. They will allow the use of other standards if it's appropriate. We have cylinders that are rated and in stationary service up to 95 MPa actually. Now when we want to take a request for a special permit to our Department of Transportation, and there is no existing standard to do that, basically, we seek out the help of a certification agency, and in the case of this effort, it was the American Bureau of Shipping. I'm sure many people are familiar with them. They have mechanisms in place to write new certifications for novel technologies, and we worked with them to develop a specification, and the numbers there, and this was based primarily on ISO 11119-3, which you heard the gentleman reference earlier with reference to the propane cylinders. There's a long list of tests that we had to do, extensive cycle testing, testing at temperature extremes, flawed cylinder testing, gunfire testing of cylinders, the whole gamut that was appropriate for composite cylinders. The additional part that we had to do is we had to show that these cylinders were mounted in a robust container, in a framework that basically could keep the bad things that happen in the world from impinging on the cylinders. So you see the pictures at the lower right there are pictures of some of the ISO container testing that we had to do. These containers meet all the requirements of ISO tank containers. So we worked through all that. We developed the ABS standard, and that got us going, and we fielded our systems in many countries using the ABS. And ultimately, we did receive a special permit from our Department of Transportation. That's SP 14951. And this was initially for the containers, as you see in the picture here, but this has very recently been extended to trailer systems, which integrate the suspension and the trailer frame and everything, and the tanks are mounted in a monolithic structure. We currently have approvals for use of our cylinders in the countries that you see here. Most of our cylinders have gone to Mexico, South America, the United States, and Canada. In addition, we have many systems operating in Thailand and Vietnam. I believe we have actually 94 Titan modules operating in Thailand. And as I said, it's been now extended to include semi-trailers. Now, when we get a special permit from our Department of Transportation for something new, we are very heavily scrutinized to make sure that this has been a good decision and a good thing for public safety in particular. Now, you know, when things are operating on the highway, there are things that are going to happen. Our most common cause of accidents is for our customers anyway, the logistics companies that buy our equipment. Their most common cause of accidents is actually drivers falling asleep. And depending on the World Cup, where the World Cup soccer is, during that week or during that period, there seems to be a spike in accidents because the drivers are staying up all night to watch soccer games and then not paying attention when they're driving, perhaps. So be aware during World Cup. But anyway, our Type 4 systems have demonstrated a very high level of safety since the very beginning of our business, more than 20 years ago. Matter of fact, we pull cylinders in from after they've been in service for their entire specified life, and we do burst testing and cycle testing, and they basically show no loss of strength or performance. As I said, when you're out in the world, bad things do happen. We've had tip overs and rollovers. The upper picture was quite a spectacular event which happened in our state of New Hampshire. The driver fell asleep and got the truck off of the road. He was going probably 100 kilometers per hour. The module, actually the trailer that the module is mounted on, and module, tumbled basically 540 degrees. It was a full tumble, and then it ended up again on its top. And there was no fire, no release of gas, and some of those tanks were actually usable again after the accident. Now, our DOT does not like to see the accidents, but they like to see results like this when they do occur. This bottom picture is kind of our showcase. This happened in a South American country. Some Marxist rebels decided that they would hijack this truck, which is operated by one of our customers there. In the process of getting the driver to stop, they shot up the truck with a machine gun, small arms, got him to stop, and then they wanted him to drive away so they could steal whatever was in the canister. Don't really believe they knew what was in this box, but they decided they were going to steal this. So they asked the driver to drive. It wouldn't move, so then they said, well, we'll just destroy it then. So they shot it multiple times with a 40-millimeter grenade launcher. These were fracturing grenades, which detonated on the sheet metal and sprayed the tanks with shrapnel. There was no rupture of the tanks. There was no leakage. There was no bad result from this, other than they really messed up some equipment. I do not have time for questions, so I will yield to the next speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Baldwin. We should welcome Mr. Gupta, who is going to talk about regulator's perspective.
Mr. Chairman Arun Singh, T, of this technical session, dignitaries on the dais, my PESO officers, galaxy of the delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you all a very, very good afternoon. I know you are waiting for the lunch. I am equally hungry, but we are on the same boat, so you please bear with me for another 10 minutes. Lunch is already ready. At the outset, I want to extend my sincere thanks to Dr. Kamal, CC, for giving me this opportunity to express regulators' perspectives with respect to excellence in hydrocarbon safety. Gentlemen, every hydrocarbon industry follows certain set of regulation, code of practices, which we have discussed in detail during the last 1.5 days. But as a regulator, as an industry, we should go further beyond the traditional concepts of industrial safety, which are no more applicable in the present day context because of the technological developments, obsolete of the existing technology. So we have to move forward with excellence. As we all are aware that excellence in any field is never by chance or by accident. It is PESO's perception that excellence can only be achieved through high intentions, determined efforts, and skilled execution. All these three combinations has to be there if you want to achieve excellence, whether it is safety or some other field of activities. That's what we, being in PESO as a regulatory body, perceive. Whenever any new technology proposal comes to us, we consider ourselves that if we introduce this new technology, we ask questions to ourselves. If my family is also involved in this, let us take the example of composite cylinders or any high-speed carousel system which we have approved. We assume that our own people, my own family is working in that plant. So my attitude, my perception completely gets changed. Then we go threadbare through the technological aspects using various tools and technologies available with PESO, I say the brain manpower, and the various national and international codes. Then we take a decision, our lot of deliberations with the industry member and amongst the PESO officers, and then we go ahead with the whether to approve or not. You may find at times that in certain cases where the new technology is involved, time is really constrained for the industry, but we can't help it in that way because for us, safety is the first motto. So the presence of high-profile dignitaries here itself and more than 600 delegates present over here, that itself demonstrates how much importance we give to in pursuing the objective of excellence in hydrocarbon safety. I think on behalf of PESO, you all, including chairpersons, speakers, delegates, dignitaries present over here, deserve a very good round of applause. Friends, we at PESO also firmly believe that excellence in hydrocarbon safety cannot be achieved only through legislation. Education and training, dissemination of information, development of innovative approaches, all these elements has to play a key role. Without these elements, nobody can achieve excellence, and that is applicable to all sphere of activities. Although most of you are aware about the PESO, but it is still my duty to appraise you the various activities of PESO with respect to hydrocarbon industry. I will not be discussing here about the explosives industry and industries covered under Ammonia Nitrate rules. In order to achieve, PESO also trying to achieve the excellence in all activities. And to achieve excellence in all sphere of its activities, PESO vision and values includes efficient, prompt and courteous services to all licensees, public and industry. And in that process, we have to have the complete transparency while keeping in view the national interest and safety as the first motto. This is the vision and values of PESO. As you are aware that PESO was earlier named as Department of Explosives and was established in the year 1898. That means this organization is more than 117 years old. It was established during the British regime. Now it is known as Petroleum and Explosive Safety Organization. It has a headquarters at Nagpur with 5 circle offices and 18 sub-circle offices. We have a departmental testing station at Gondkheri, near to Nagpur, and then we have a FRDC center at Sukasi. Total licensed and approved premises as on date, I am talking about during the year 2015 and 16 March, it was more than 2,70,000. Whereas the sanction strength of the peso. As per the officers are concerned, it is 137. So now you can imagine these are the locations of the various circular and sub-circular offices of peso. The overall objective of peso is to administer Explosives Act, Petroleum Act, Inflammatory Substance Act, MSISC rules, and the rules framed thereunder. There are various rules which are framing, but as far as the Petroleum Act is concerned, we are having Petroleum Rules 2002, then Inflammatory Substance Act 1952, and the CC has got power under Schedule 5 of the MSISC rules, that is called Manufacture, Storage and Import of Hazardous Chemical Rules 1989, notified under Environment Protection Act 1986. Under Schedule 5, CC has got power for approval of LPG pipelines, LNG pipelines, cross-country pipelines, LNG terminals, etc., etc. And if we see the total number of premises during the last 35 years, in the year 1980-81, we had 41,000 premises, where the number of officers were 98. Now, today we have in the 2015 and 16, we have 2,77,000 premises with only 119 officers. So, whereas the premises has gone more than 600%, but the officers' strength remains same. But still, with this reduced manpower, we are able to dispose the assigned work with due diligence. So one has to bear with us if at all is there any delay in disposal of some of the papers. Now, if we see the role of peso, if you see the petroleum supply chain, right from import of petroleum to the fueling of the vehicle, peso's role and industry role comes at every stage. The vehicles which are being fueled at the service stations are covered under Form 14 of the Petroleum Rules 2002. Auto LPG stations are covered under Form 5 of the SMPB rules. And CNG stations are covered under Form G of the Gas Cylinder Rules 2004. Why I am telling that when our own family goes for the service station while fueling the vehicle, it becomes a duty of regulator and the industry that their or my family is safe. That's why whenever we approve any cylinder, valve or regulator, lot of rigorous scrutiny of the proposals is done. Type tests are witnessed as per the course, and sometimes we put additional conditions, additional tests in that particular proposal. So that, because why we do that? Because India being a tropical country, conditions in Europe and India are very different. So sometimes we have to add the various tests which are not defined in the code itself. And the people who are approaching PESO, they sometimes surprise. Why you want to have this type of test? Then we make them understand this is the requirement, this is the condition country, and we assume that my family is traveling in the same car where that cylinder or regulator is installed. Similarly, for aviation fuel supply chain, the aircraft where the fuel is being poured into the aircraft, it is also licensed, approved by PESO, including ATF terminal in Form 15 of the Petroleum Rules 2002. Similarly, the LPG cylinder which is coming to your house, the LPG which is imported or LPG which is produced in the refinery approval itself is given under Chapter 8 of the Petroleum Rules 2002. The pipelines which are carrying petroleum from refinery to the terminal is also approved by CC under Petroleum Rules. The industry users which are using petroleum product in above ground or underground tanks are also licensed under Form 15. Why I am telling that role of PESO is very critical at each and every stage. So approval, although we have got the computer module or licensing system on computer, but scrutiny is being done by the human being. Any failure on the part of human being we discussed yesterday will lead to disaster. This is the intention of each and every officer of PESO, being a regulatory body. Similarly, LNG. The LNG supply chain right from receipt of LNG to the gasification, although not covered under gas cylinder rules, petroleum rules, etc., but the approval of such facilities are granted by Chief Controller Explosive under Manufacture, Storage and Import of Hazardous Chemical Rules 1989. So I will just skip this. Then we go to the gentlemen. We try to learn by practical experiences. When some accident occurs, then we go into cause and consequences. Why it has happened? Then we come out various set of regulations. New regulations will come. Lot of statutory requirements will be newly framed. Can't we have a synthetic experience? The synthetic experience means we assume in our brain. I think human being the only intelligent person on this earth, and the God has also gifted brain to the human being only. If I assume that, suppose I am doing particular activity in the industry, I should ask question to myself. Why it should be like that? What will happen if it goes like this? Indirectly, you are carrying out heads-up study in your brain before actually you implement that technology. So that should be the objective. So we should try to acquire the synthetic experience so that nothing goes wrong. See, accidents cannot be eliminated but can be reduced. If we see the accident during the last 5 years in our country, most of the accidents had occurred on the road. And the second thing is the petroleum service station. The moment I say petroleum service station, it includes tanker also, which is being unloaded in the petroleum underground tank. So if you see, most of the accident means I will say 32% accidents have occurred in the petroleum service station, and around 40% accident has occurred during transportation of LPG and petroleum product by road. So more emphasis is required to be given to these elements. The causes of accidents include skewed focus in safety priorities, lack of identification of hazards, and risk due to deviation from standard operating procedure. What we have observed that, if I say a particular licensee that you carry out the heads-up study, tomorrow itself he will come with the report. Sir, I have carried out the heads-up study properly. It is just a formality. Gentlemen, you are trying to fool yourself. You are not to me. Because that is a preliminary step in any process, modification or new process you suppose you want to introduce in your factory. Heads-up has to be carried out very properly, meticulously. Identifying the deviation from the design parameter becomes the prime importance in any type of activity, whether it is a continuous plant or it is a batch process. If it is not done properly, you are misleading yourself, and at the same time, you are trying to bypass so many systems and procedures. So kindly carry out the hazard identification properly, assess it properly, and then ensure that control measures are in place. Then only the prevention of accidents will be a successful goal for you. it has also been observed by PESO that accidents are not reported in time. They are reported very late, after 10-15 days, when there is a news flash in the TV or in the paper. I am not talking in general, but in some particular cases, we have observed that, defeating the very purpose of the regulation. When our officer reaches to the site will be found completely disturbed. Now, then it becomes a mere formality that officer will go, we will also give some cause for accident, and the matter is closed. Yesterday we had a lengthy deliberation on that we should have a database for the accident. Can we have a database like this? We have to have a self-regulation. Without self-regulation, nothing will move. So for that, our perception has to be very good. I should perceive the rule in a proper fashion. The rule should not become a self-development regulation. The rule says I should only have 10 tons of LPG, then safety distance will be X. If I have 10.2 tons, then safety distance will be something. So what we do normally, we will say I have got only 9.8 tons. Or I will say 9.99 tons because the safety distance is 5 meters for 9.99. I am just giving an example. Or for 10 ton and above, it is 10 meters. So merely reducing 200 kg is not going to reduce the hazard. So think in a positive fashion. Your perception has to be good. Otherwise, you will lead in such way. You are trying to fool yourself. What initiatives we have taken? We have amended SMPP rules and fire rules to include new technology such as internal access flow check valve, LNG, and boundary storage, testing, inspection that have become the part of the SMPP rules. Gas cylinder rules are also newly superseded with the old 2004 rules, and lot of inclusions are there. You will find PESO will never be the hindrance in the introduction of new technology, I assure you, provided certain SOP, certain international standards, regulations are followed in a very proper positive positive manner. The rules are mainly aimed at the inbuilt safety design. If you see any of our rule, whether it is SMPP, petroleum or gas cylinder, the objective is to have inbuilt safety in the rule itself, so that you are not going to, because it is assumed that these rules will be followed by right from small scale industry to the large scale industry. So rules are framed in such a way that it has got an inbuilt safety feature. But again, the hazards depends upon the inventory of the chemicals. That's why after Bhopal disaster, MSISC rules were framed. So many additional requirements were placed on the occupier. Now the occupier was made responsible that something goes wrong, you will be prosecuted. So higher the inventory, higher the hazards, and more responsibilities are placed on the occupier, so that he will ensure that nothing goes wrong in my plant. Now, as I told you that we have only 119 officers in the PESO, vis-a-vis 2,77,000 premises all over the country. To cater to the need of the 2,77,000 industry members, we have taken initiative of e-filing application. As yesterday CC told, that lot of developments have taken place as far as the stakeholders are concerned. E-filing under petroleum rules, now by sitting in your house you can file the application. Similarly, e-filing under gas cylinder rules also commissioned. E-filing for competent persons. Now a competent person can have their own recourse They can peruse their, how many certificates they have issued in the past. And PESO is also closely monitoring all these activities. I think CC needs a very big round of applause for filing auto renewal application, because it was his initiative that he prompted all of us that you should work on this. I don't want visitors coming to our office all the way from various distances. Let them have facility from their house itself. And we are moving on the positive direction, and probably in some few coming months, you should have more auto renewals on through your houses. Now, the area of concern with respect to regulatory bodies are the compliance are not being done properly. We can't afford to put officers in each premises. You have to have the self-regulation. The moment I say self-regulation, it does not mean that since the officer is not going to come, I will come to know my industry neighbor. Whenever the officer comes, he will communicate to me. I will make my house all right. That will not work, because you are trying to fool yourself. Because ultimately, whatever you are doing, it is for you, not for me. And the public safety at large will be affected. So try to have self-regulation, comply the rules. Rules are not your enemy. Rules are made for your safety. Although helmet is not compulsory, but still, we should insist our children you wear helmet. That is called the self-regulation. Because ultimately you are protecting life of your own family. Now, degassing and purging is many of the area of concern. I would request all the oil companies to go to create more and more degassing stations, so that the tankers are not degassed unauthorizedly, illegally on the roadside, endangering public safety. This we had discussed at length in the past also, but progress is slow. So again, I will use this platform to appeal each and everybody that try to have more and more degassing stations and help PESO in implementing the rules properly. Now, another area of concern which is really boggling us, that most of the pipelines are more than 30 years old. And I am sorry to say that health assessment is not being done properly. Again, it is a formality you people are doing. When we ask for the health assessment reports of tender is pending, it will be done after a year. Is it a correct answer? We are not concerned with your tender system or whatever process you are having. You should be equally worried about the public. It is not the only regulator who will be worried about the public. It is one and everybody's responsibility. So try to devise a methodology so that pipelines which are very old are properly health assessed. ILI is must for the pigging line. I am again reminding you, the post-facto approval of the pipelines will not be considered unless you submit the ILI report. Now, compatibility of the cylinder is also one of the issues. The CNG which is containing water, or biogas which is having impurities, are dangerous to the cylinders. So kindly have a check on it. Ensure that dewatering system is installed properly. So I want to just finish in 2 minutes. Industry should aim for the zero accident. Rules and regulations are the only guidelines for the safety in the industry. Actual sufferers in the accidents are industry and public. You have to have a different approach to the high hazardous area. You can't focus the same thing on the lower potential hazard vis-a-vis high potential hazard facilities. So you have to have a focus on the high hazardous area, so that if at all some accident occurs, the consequences are limited to within your boundary. So in order to achieve the whatever I have said, you have to have the aptitude, attitude. I should have aptitude. If I have got the aptitude, then I will also have the attitude. I should have a skill for execution. If I have no skill, I cannot execute it properly. I should have knowledge of the technology. I should have knowledge of the hazards associated with the facilities. If you have aptitude, skill, knowledge, ask yourself whether you have all the three. If any of the element is missing, you will be driving in opposite direction. So believe in yourself. Little faith says I can do it. Big faith says I will do it. Great faith says I have done it. Paso believes in great faith. So I also appeal to you that you go for the third one. Nothing is impossible when you believe in yourself. Thank you very much. It's people which come. Sorry.
Big thank to Dr. Kamal for having initiated this. And also I'm very happy to have this kind of forum where interactions happen. I don't think interactions can happen the way it happens here in PESO office or across the industry. Because we have a tendency to cultural problem that we are not very good at sharing. We are good at speaking but not at sharing. We can speak a lot but share a little. Okay? So therefore the sharing happens, and I'm sure with more and more openness will dawn over the period of time, and we'll be sharing more and more of our pains. From there, there was a lovely slide, if you saw earlier, that when something happens, good unfolds. So when bad happens, only for good to happen. So bad is one preceding step for a good to happen. So therefore, big thank to you and your officers and your team, and thank you very much for listening patiently, and even though you may be aware that lunch is served outside, and still you are sitting here. Great. Thank you.